This is NBC 33, News at 10.
High water is coming to some in Louisiana for Christmas. New order for some soldiers: don't get pregnant or don't get anyone else pregnant. Drew Brees takes a look back at Saturday's game.
We just want to finish out this regular season strong and be playing our best football going into the playoffs.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Gloria Gallardo. Jennifer Keelman has the night off. Iberville Parish is under a state of emergency. This after flooding rains over the last several weeks, and now the people who call Iberville Parish home are bracing for more rain this week. Tyler Gamble reports.
Knee-high boots are a necessity for folks living along Bayou Sorrel, where last week's rain left many trapped in their own homes.
It's very hard to get across the yard to go back to each other's house.
Dozens of houses are still underwater. This man spent the morning trying to save his lawnmower.
Wasn't expecting to get this high, but all that rain we had back, and just every time you think you're going to start down, here come another day of rain.
And the parish is bracing for even more rain this week. Parish workers have filled thousands of these bags since the flooding first started last week. And with more rain expected Tuesday, they're shipping the sand out as fast as they can. It's keeping most of the high water off roads for now. Another precaution, all boat traffic is closed until the water level goes down.
It went down probably an inch from yesterday. I mean, if we get 2 inches of rain, somebody's back away with that.
Pumps are working overtime to get the water out, but many residents say it could be weeks before the water is completely drained.
Ain't much I can do. Get it in, try to pick up some more of this stuff and get it out of there.
Basically, wear boots everywhere you go. It sucks.
In Iberville, Tyler Gamble, NBC 33 News.
For the rest of us, some more rain it looks like tonight. Let's go to meteorologist Jesse Gunkel. Jesse?
Hi, Gloria, and good evening. Well, on the first day of winter, we started out at freezing, 32 degrees here, 30 in Macomb, 38 in New Orleans, even 29 degrees up in Jackson, Mississippi. Temperatures a lot cooler than where they should be for this time of year. Looking at our temperatures now, we're sitting at 45 degrees, 41 in Macomb, and 47 over in the Big Easy. And we maxed out in the lower 60s this afternoon. We're calling for clear skies tonight, but a few more are starting to push their way in from the west. We're also going to look at a little bit of fog tonight. Some visibility could be quite poor, especially during the morning hours. Doppler radar, Storm Tracker 33 is nice and dry across the metro area. And looking at your headlines, well, again, we do have a dense fog, possible advisory being issued in just a few hours. And as that happens, we may look at visibility about a quarter mile or less. Tomorrow, another beautiful day, nice and sunny, a little bit warmer, highs maybe even near 70 degrees. Then we're going to look for the chance for some strong storms as we head into Thursday. But the good news is, by Christmas Day, we should be nice and dry. Well, more details in just a few, so stick around.
Okay, Jesse, last week's rain is spoiling the pre-Christmas hunt for many South Louisiana hunters. The Department of Health, Wildlife and Fisheries, has banned all-season hunting except waterfowl in a total of 9 parishes. Emily Turner has the story.
Right behind the front shoulder.
This may be the closest to shooting one of these many hunters in South Louisiana will get.
Something to tide you over, I guess, but it's not the same.
Floodwaters have forced the Department of Wildlife and Fisheries to close all hunting seasons except waterfowl in 9 parishes across the state. That means no rabbit, no squirrel, and definitely no deer.
Bad when you plan all year and such a vacation, and this weekend is closed.
All Chris Decado wants for Christmas is an 8-point for his wall.
Nice to dream about.
But even though his deer stand sits in a no-hunting zone, he'd rather not put an entire population at risk.
Makes it really easy to kill more than you should.
Officials say recent heavy rain has left many hunting grounds so wet, deer and other game have had no choice but to seek higher ground. And instead of focusing on primary breeding activity, these animals are now just struggling to survive. A hunter for nearly 40 years, Decado has seen the effects of open shooting under these conditions.
Buck lost the antlers about a month earlier than normal. The biologist said it was due to the stress from the high water. And it did seem like the next couple of years were a little more down.
The Department of Wildlife and Fisheries says the closure is only temporary, and the agency plans on reopening these grounds as soon as they decide water levels are safe. But lucky for Decado, that trophy deer may not have to wait till next year.
My brother owns some land in Mississippi that I can hunt, so I just have to drive a little further.
Reporting in Ascension Parish, Emily Turner, NBC 33 News.
For a list of places not allowing hunting, go to our website. It's NBC33TV.com. A last-minute cut in funding for 30 organizations in the state. Millions in state money for teen pregnancy prevention and other programs is no more. Some organizations like the YWCA saw more than $1 million cut. Now, leaders of those groups have to find that cash elsewhere.
I think it was something we anticipated, and we've been working with other partners and collaborators to try to make up the funds that we will be losing, but it's going to be a difficult road for us ahead.
The Department of Social Services says they gave the organizations time to look for money in other places. Baton Rouge police made an arrest in a weekend shooting. Richard Antoine Beckley was taken into custody this morning. Officers found him on Mohican Drive. He ran from police but was eventually captured. Detectives say he's a suspect in a double shooting at the Turner Plaza Apartments. Early Saturday morning, officers found a 50-year-old Avis Daniel dead in an apartment. A 38-year-old woman had also been shot several times. She's in critical condition at a Baton Rouge hospital. A New Orleans man has been cleared of charges in a triple murder. Deshaun Young was identified as a suspect in the April shootings of a mother and 2 children. Young took a polygraph test and handed over DNA samples. He was released due to lack of evidence. A grand jury indicted a Mandeville man on child pornography charges. Richard A. Higgins is accused of having illegal images on a computer. He faces up to 20 years in prison and could have to register as a sex offender. A former Virginia Tech student pleads guilty to first-degree murder after being accused of decapitating another student on campus. The student faces life in prison. He was charged with killing the student as the pair had coffee together in January. Then state mandates that student was killed after she refused romantic advances. Listen to this. A top U.S. commander is threatening some soldiers who get pregnant on active service with jail time. Under the new policy, soldiers expecting a baby could face a court-martial and possibly a prison term, and so do men who get them pregnant. The rule also applies to married couples at war together. Major General Anthony Cucillo, who runs U.S. operations in northern Iraq, issued the new orders because he said he was losing too many women with critical skills. This may be the season of peace and goodwill, but that's no more than wishful thinking in some parts of the world. Afghanistan, for instance, where thousands of U.S. troops are stationed for the 9th consecutive holiday season. So who brings them comfort and joy this time of year? Jim Maceda reports.
Ave Maria.
From a Sunday morning mass,
May their families experience comfort during their times of sorrow and grief.
To a nighttime sorting of gifts for the Afghan poor.
How about these?
It's so rewarding. It just breaks up any depression.
50-year-old U.S. Army chaplain Eric Albertson plays many roles. And a pretty good guitar, too.
5, 6, 5.
All in the calling, he says, of caring for the inner well-being of his troops.
So I've seen both ends. I've been with fellows when they died in combat, and then I've been with them with their families when they were laid to rest at Arlington.
But despite Chaplain Albertson's efforts and those of others like him, the U.S. Army's morale is under attack. Active duty suicides are at record levels, so is depression and substance abuse. Albertson, with already 2 tours in Iraq and 1 here in Afghanistan, agrees that morale is a problem and blames the stress of long, multiple deployments away from home.
I think of World War II, for example. They were gone for 4 years. Well, there are some troops here that have been gone for 5.
And facing an often invisible enemy has taken a toll. IEDs and suicide bombers are on the minds of every soldier who goes outside the wire.
We've heard them, we've seen them, we've seen the smoke plumes, and thanking my lucky stars, just praying every day.
The Army does what it can to boost morale with pool tournaments, even fencing lessons, and a focus on outreach, like this drop-off of winter clothes and soccer balls at a Kabul orphanage.
It's the kind of experience that soldiers can share with loved ones back home, and that's a big bonus. Many of the counselors we've spoken to here say that the average soldier will almost never share the darker side of conflict with family.
The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
An ordained Catholic priest, Albertson says that faith ultimately is the best morale boost for his troops, but admits that after 8 years of war, it's getting harder to believe in peace. Jim Masadam, NBC News, Kabul.
President Obama says the Senate vote over the weekend was a big victory for the American people. The president said the bill would reduce the deficit long-term, countering criticism that it's too expensive. He says the overnight test vote in the Senate has moved the nation closer to a health insurance overhaul for families.
By standing up to the special interests who've prevented reform for decades and who are furiously lobbying against it now, the Senate has moved us closer to reform that makes a tremendous difference for families, for seniors, for businesses, and for the country as a whole.
There are 2 more procedural votes ahead in the Senate, including one tomorrow morning. After the break, we'll have the Louisiana Lagniappe, plus state leaders discuss a plan to make schools better in Louisiana. The story on the other side of the break. Louisiana educators want a chance at some big bucks for schools from the federal government. More than $300 million are up for grabs for states showing education innovation. So far, 59 Louisiana school districts are on board, but not everyone agrees with the state's participation in that contest. A spokesperson for the Louisiana School Board Association says it's just too risky. Their big concern, what happens when that money runs out? The state superintendent answers that question.
The real reason for this money is not to use it for things that they can't sustain. It's to use it to transition from where they are today to where they need to be.
State applications are due in January. The results of the contest will be announced in April. This is the Monday edition of the Louisiana Lagniappe. The West Baton Rouge school system is accused of denying an autistic boy his state-mandated education. Tied to Schultz's parents are seeking reimbursement for the $40,000 they spent in private education services. The child's mother said the problem started when he was enrolled at an elementary school. District officials won't discuss specifics but say they will fight the accusations in court. A consultant is helping Cato and Bossier Parish revise the noise laws. The move comes before the continued drilling in the Haynesville Shale natural gas formation. The company will measure sounds and help rewrite the laws over the next 4 months. Parish officials say the laws right now are too vague. A Shreveport building is slated to become a National Historic Landmark. The Municipal Auditorium will be added to the registry. Some music greats have ties there. The Louisiana Hayride radio program broadcasts from the auditorium, bringing listeners music from Johnny Cash, Jim Reeves, and Elvis Presley. This has been the Monday edition of the Louisiana Lagniappe.
Well, it's only fitting, since today is the first day of winter, that old man winter had a little nip in the air. It was cold this morning. We started out at 32 degrees. Normally, look, we should only be around 41 degrees. Highs today, well, we maxed out at 63, and that is just 1 degree above our norm. But the main thing here is, and the beautiful thing was, we saw very little cloud cover, and we saw little rain. Well, we actually saw no rain. We saw nice dry conditions across the metro area, and it's given us a little time to dry out before our next little weather maker pushes in Wednesday going into Thursday. Current temperatures, well, 45 degrees here. We're looking at relative humidity nice and low, and those winds are calm at 0 miles per hour. Looking at your satellite and radar picture, a few high clouds have now entered the state, but again, there will be rain-free clouds. Most of those clouds will eventually push their way over the top of us by the morning hours. But the main area of focus, I think, is going to be low-level clouds. We're talking fog, visibility about a quarter of a mile or less. That is not a lot of distance between you and the car in front of you. Therefore, give yourself a little extra time tomorrow because driving conditions may be a little bit slow. So again, on Storm Tracker 33 Doppler, we are now nice and dry across all of southeastern Louisiana, from Lafayette to St. Martinville, all the way to Gonzales, Baton Rouge, over to Hammond, and all the way down towards the mouth of the Mississippi. So as we jump into tomorrow, well, it should be a pretty nice day. Partly cloudy skies by the afternoon, maybe a few more clouds, especially along the coastline with the chance of an isolated shower. Starting out at 43 degrees, 66 by lunch, and by the time you roll home, a temperature of 62. So really, we've had high pressure over the top of us the last couple of days. That's kept us nice and dry. Again, high pressure now continues to slide its way over towards the east. We're going to call for another chilly night, but winds are now out of the south, so it's going to be a warm south wind. Winds will start to pick up by tomorrow. It could be a little bit breezy. Notice how we do have the chance of an isolated shower along the coastline. A few more clouds, getting those warmer conditions where we may max out very close to 70 degrees, a little bit warmer again further south on the north side of town, I-10 and above, where we can see those temperatures in the upper 60s. And then after that, well, we're going to focus on the weather maker well over towards the west. We have another strong storm coming through. again with the possibility of being severe. That just means that we could see some strong, damaging winds, maybe the possibility of hail, and, well, we really can't even count out the chance of an isolated tornado. Now, that's still a little bit down the road. We're going to continue to track it very closely as we get a little bit closer, but watch the system. Should be pushing its way well towards the north of us. As that system drives through by Christmas Eve, it should be out by the later hours of Christmas Eve, and by the time we roll into, well, Christmas Day, we should have a nice forecast. So, kids, don't worry about it. I think Santa should have a nice, smooth ride. Dense fog advisory, a temperature of 42 degrees, another chilly night. As you look at tomorrow, a few more clouds, warm and breezy, a high of 69. And looking at your 7-day forecast, not too bad. We're going to call for a beautiful day tomorrow with a high of 69. Expect some rain very late Wednesday going into early Thursday with some strong storms, but nice and dry, but cool come Christmas Day.
Okay, Jesse, those in the nation's capital dealt with a mess this morning. 16 inches of snow fell in parts of D.C. over the weekend. Drivers were warned of poor conditions because whatever wasn't cleared Sunday turned into ice this morning. And workers at FedEx Field had to shovel 25 million pounds of snow. The seats have to be cleared because the Skins take on the Giants at home tonight. That rough weather turned in favor of some shoppers since weekend snowstorms kept many shoppers at home. Web retailers are giving last-minute shoppers a chance at shipping deals, and many sites have bumped back shipping deadlines and offer free express shipping. Macy's, Amazon, and JCPenney are just some of those sites extending the deadlines. Web retailers saw an increased shopping when compared to last year. The Department of Transportation has delivered an early Christmas present to travelers. New rules say that you cannot be stranded on a plane indefinitely. The regulations announced today forbid airlines from holding passengers on board domestic flights for more than 3 hours. And those who violate the rules will have to pay up.
If you sit on an airplane for more than 3 hours, and it's reported to us, we do our investigation. If we find there was a violation, there will be $27,500 per violation. That means per passenger.
The rules can be suspended for safety or security reasons, or if air traffic control is determined that returning to the terminal would disrupt airport operations. The rules go into effect in 120 days. Keep it right here. Sports is up next. You're watching NBC 33 News at 10 o'clock.
Well, the Saints' undefeated season is now over thanks to the Dallas Cowboys. The Saints also got pretty banged up in Saturday's contest, and the injuries are starting to add up for the black and gold. Coach Sean Payton told reporters Reggie Bush suffered a slight hamstring pull, and quarterback Randall Gay suffered a concussion. Starting DB Jabari Greer did not play. He had surgery December 8th to repair a sports hernia. Andrew Brees' chance at winning the MVP may also be out the window. Brees committed all 3 Saints turnovers when he had a chance to mount a comeback in the final 2 minutes. He put the ball on the turf, but if you listen to him speak after the game, it sounds like a trophy is the last thing on his mind.
I feel like we've fought so hard to get to where we're at now, and we've won games in so many different ways. So many players contributing and playing a key role, and you just feel like, you know, we deserved it, and the city deserved it, and the organization deserved it, and we wanted to make it happen for all of them. And that's probably what's most disappointing about it. But the fact is, we're sitting here right now and we're 13-1. We still have that first seed in the NFC in our sights, and we just want to finish out this regular season strong and be playing our best football going into the playoffs.
LSU baseball team ranked number 2 in the nation. That poll coming out just today. All right, moving from the gridiron to the hardwood, the Hornets heading up north to Toronto, taking on the Raptors last night. Second quarter, Hornets up by 1. James Posey with a nice look to David West for the big-time slam, flushing that one. West had 21 points, 12 rebounds later in the second quarter. Toronto down 1. Chris Bosh rings the fadeaway plus the foul. Raptors up 4 at the break. Third quarter right now, Raptors. After the turnover, Sonny Weems gets it to DeMar DeRozan, throws it down. That's a rookie flying high right there. Raptors up 68-67. But in the fourth, Chris Bosh taking over just outside. A little move. He finishes with style. Bosh finished with 25 points, 11 rebounds. Raptors win 98-92. Now it's time for the juice. Police say while the investigation continues into the death of Cincinnati Bengals receiver Chris Henry, they have yet to determine whether to file charges in connection with the fatal incident. Henry died Thursday from massive head injuries a day after falling out of the back of a pickup truck driven by his fiancée Lolini Tonga. Police described the incident as a domestic dispute. Tonga has not been criminally charged in his death or cited for any traffic violations. The Dallas Mavericks are appealing their overtime loss Friday to the Houston Rockets, saying that center Eric Dampier was inappropriately assessed a second technical foul. Mavericks owner Mark Cuban filed the appeal paperwork with the league office Sunday. Cuban is requesting that the game be resumed in Dallas with 1 minute and 1 second remaining and Dampier at the free throw line to shoot 2 free throws. That's it for the Juice.
Seems like a hard sell there. All right, Phil. Up next, friends and family mourn the death of actress Brittany Murphy. More when NBC 33 News at 10 returns. Family, friends, and fans of Brittany Murphy are mourning the actress's death on Sunday at the age of 32. She died of cardiac arrest, but the circumstances that led to her passing remain an open question. Mark Barger has the latest.
Authorities aren't sure yet what caused the death of actress Brittany Murphy, but they do say there's no evidence of foul play. Los Angeles police investigators went through Murphy's Hollywood home on Sunday, and a spokesperson says there's no sign of suspicious activity. The LA coroner's office is conducting an autopsy on Murphy today to try to figure out what killed the actress, but those results are not expected for at least 6 to 8 weeks. The early indication, according to the city's assistant chief coroner, is that Murphy's death was from natural causes. But toxicology tests, along with Murphy's medical history from her personal physician, could help authorities in making a final determination.
The family had reported that she had not been feeling well the last few days and that she had flu-like symptoms.
But there's no indication so far that that illness or prescription medications taken from Murphy's home played any role in the actress's death. Mark Barger, NBC News.
Caught in the web, People magazine reports Tiger Woods and a group of friends have set sail from North Palm Beach aboard his yacht, Privacy. The magazine quotes an unnamed source who has seen the luxury yacht. Another source tells People Woods is going to cruise the Bahamas for a few days after hanging around the Palm Beach Gardens area this past week. The magazine says neither source had actually seen Woods. And this may be no surprise, but Tiger Woods makes the naughty list. Well, at least the one posted at this window in a Sacramento hotel. John and Kate of John and Kate Plus 8, singer Chris Brown, and California First Lady Maria Shriver also made the naughty list. Those on the nice list, Taylor Swift, Michelle Obama, and journalist Laura Ling. An image of Jesus holding a double-barreled shotgun offends some in California. Although the owner says it's art attacking the consumer-centric Christmas, some aren't warming to the figure, also featuring a stuffed Rudolph lying on the hood of a pickup truck. The man says he hopes this forces parents to explain the true meaning of Christmas. A Texas woman is taking the Christmas spirit to another extreme. It's a snow globe on 4 wheels. It started with a plug to power the lights. From there it grew. Now there are 100 Christmas lights, just as many cotton balls, and even enough white stuff to cover a queen-sized bed. Even the windowsills have a coat of that snow. Keep it right here. We're back in just a couple of minutes. Here's some stories you may have missed. Amateur video release Sunday shows the ordeal some passengers went through after 5 trains became stuck inside the Channel Tunnel overnight on Friday. One piece of amateur video showed a heated exchange between a passenger and a staff as the passenger demanded to be let off the train. Passengers spoke of being in the dark for up to 16 hours without adequate food, water, or any clear idea of what was happening. Islamic militants fire mortars in the Somali capital Sunday. The police force was celebrating its 66th anniversary when a mortar landed in the compound during the ceremony. At least 13 people killed by that group with links to Al-Qaeda. A big dinner for the homeless in Poland. It beat last year's number of 53,000. They enjoy festive Polish Christmas dishes and entertainment at this event. And Russia's national judo team had a big name drop by practice on Saturday. Russian Prime Minister Vladimir Putin. After tossing a few competitors to the mat, Putin had tea with the team members to discuss the team's progress. I'm sure he wanted to join in. Coming up next, thousands come out to break a holiday record. Did they accomplish their jolly goal? We'll have the answer when NBC 33 News at 10 returns.
You're watching NBC 33, WVLA, Baton Rouge.
And finally, thousands of people in Portugal dressed up as Santa today in an attempt to break a world record by having the most people dressed as jolly old St. Nick at one event. About 150,000 people gathered for the festive holiday parade, which included 2 buildings with 400 dancers, 3 student choirs, and a Santa marching band. Some even dressed their pets in Santa suits. This was the 3rd attempt to break that record this year. Thanks for watching NBC 33 News at 10. Tune in tomorrow morning at 6 for NBC 33 News Morning Edition. Have a great night.